Overlander now. Hey y'all, I have been a ground tent guy since forever. You know, there's some solutions out there for when you're gonna live 10 days out of your truck that make all of that living a lot easier. Early on, I was like, I don't need a rooftop tent, right? I got a ground tent, that's how I grew up camping and all that, but you know, I'm just gonna grow up today and I'm gonna have a lot easier setup and takedown. That's what I've watched, you know, Nate and all these guys do on these different trips, is just be in camp and set up faster than me, ready to go on the trail faster than me. And that ends today. We're putting a Roam rooftop tent on this truck right now. Roam has a pretty good video for assembly and install already, so that's linked here in the description. But generally, getting a big tent like this set up on the truck is not trivial. Like, this is almost 200 pounds that, at least in my case, is 8 feet in the air, so, you know, take your time. The kit comes with all sorts of good hardware. It's got the plates and you know, nice hardware, but friends of mine, Ian and Brittany, run Wheel every weekend, and they have these security mounts. It's really pretty clever. So these come in a lot of different shapes. This one's for the 80/20 rack like I've got, which I didn't know that's what it's called. And it's billet aluminum, and it uses basically the equivalent of like a wheel lock. Basically, it makes it to where it's extremely difficult for somebody to steal this. You know, they've got to be pretty darn motivated. Their Instagram handle is right here, so be sure to go check them out. The Suburban is a big truck by any measure, so I went with the borderline palatial Vagabond XL. It's a darn big tent. But like a kid with a new toy, I could not wait to get out in the woods and set it up. But I settled for a patch of grass near my favorite brewery. It's a good enough spot to do what we really wanted to do, which is, you know, just hang out for a minute and enjoy something cold to drink at the end of a long day. The trailer ended up needing some maintenance too, since we're hauling the Suburban out west. Now, my dad is the undisputed master of that kind of work, and he quickly volunteered to inspect and service the brakes and bearings. It is one of his many specialties. In the lap of luxury with an elevated trailer, not on your hands and knees, what better way to service a trailer before a big long trip?
This is really going to be an awful lot of fun based on the fact that we've got a shop to work in, we're not out in a mud field again, and so let me show you what we're going to do. So we're going to take these nice Dexter hubs and pulling this entire drum off to do two things. Number one is we're going to take a look and examine the brakes and the brake pad that goes along behind this. So that'll take us right on into taking the bearings out of the hubs and doing a cleaning and a detailed inspection, because if any one of those needs to be replaced, Southwest Wheel also has bearing sets that we'll be able to use.
And while my dad is doing that, I've got some leftover stuff to do on the truck. We did the tent, but that is not all. We're full Overlander on this. Look, I'll be the first to tell you, I don't quite get the camping versus overlanding differentiation, and genuinely don't care. Good gear that lets any of us go farther and stay longer sounds mighty fine, however it is branded. Time in the outdoors is what's most important. All right, so we pulled off the side of the road to see the Grand Canyon. I've never seen it before. Something brand new and beautiful. It's been a long drive, but this is a wonderful payoff. Okay, look, this is my mistake. This was not the Grand Canyon, but rather Marble Canyon. Now, it is still the Colorado River and about 75 miles from the North Rim, and the biggest dang canyon I have ever seen. But we've got just a few more miles to go to St. George, staging ground, and then we hit Nevada from there. Back to the truck. It's kind of the nature of road trips. See something beautiful, back to the truck. We used St. George, Utah as a staging area for the rest of the trip. Now, fortunately, there are some really nice folks in that part of town. Thank you to Matt for letting us store some gear here, keep it all safe, and we're gonna go have a good old time in Nevada tomorrow. But first, we're gonna make a run to Triton Engineering. These are the good folks that made the engine and transmission coolers I'm now running on the Suburban, and by the way, worked darned well. Easily one of my favorite things to do is to actually visit and connect with the people who do all of this exceptional building. You know, certainly thank you, Igor, for letting us come and visit, see the source material, stuff that inspires me. This chassis here, hugely inspiring, all to pass well, just like you and I are trying to do at home, right? That we're trying to achieve this kind of level of quality, all chromoly and Docol and so on. It's all here, right? Now, fortunately, he and other folks post online using Instagram. If I could tell you the thing that really came back and got me kind of moving forward in my sort of skill journey, it was seeing this kind of work and then just having just one little moment to duplicate it. It's tops, absolutely the slickest. But the fun thing is Igor is not just working on like race stuff, right? Everybody's got something that's pretty cool, and this Hummer has caught my eye because I doubt it'll be in there very long, but there's a 6.2 in it, and automatically, right? It's a 6.2 diesel, and I love it, and I want to see how this thing turns out. I'm sure it'll have something else over time. This is a top-notch design build operation. Everything here is CNC laser cut and bent to a 3D model. Something that leaves me with only good ideas for my Charger project. We're over here at Hollie's shop, Hollie Fowler, Mischief maker, and that is her race Jeep. And there's a few things I didn't do back at home, and just running out of time. And they're simple things. Honestly, they're things that I actually leave. A lot of times I end up leaving for just moments right like this before we hit the trail. And since we've got to shuffle her Jeep to access the door, it is a fine excuse to listen to a very happy LS3. Smells good. Let's get the skid plate on. There's a couple of oil lines I want to zip tie just to make sure they're out of the way. I don't know why I never welded these. I should just... The welder will do it. I'm just dumb. It's become something of a ritual installing the skid plate at the last minute. Truly, I don't mind it because it's my last look at every oil line bolt and whatnot before we cannonball across some new part of the U.S. And as Hollie was generous with her space, we all lent her a collective quick hand pulling the axle on her current project. But honestly, if you leave Dave alone in your shop for more than like a minute or two, he's gonna start working on something. Thanks very much, Hollie, for lending us a space to prep. Okay, good morning. It is time to drive to Elko, the start of the trail. We're coming from St. George, which was our staging ground coming from Texas, right? So here with my buddy Chris. You gotta drive this whole distance just to get out of Texas, and then from Texas to everywhere else is actually pretty short. St. George has been a great staging ground. And we're gonna drive on the highway from here. It actually weighs. So we've got estimates of 9.3,
9380.
9380. 93 even. 93 even. And you said 96. So over under for me was 975. I don't think it's 10,000, but I thought it was 975. Now I've only looked at this. I'm the only one that's seen it. Everybody's guesses are good. Chris?
9480. No gross weight, 95.
Yeah, there's a difference on it's a front and back axle. 9,500 pounds on Big Booty Judy. We're gonna do a little photo op because it's beautiful out here.
Sage weed out here.
All right, so day 0. We have just left Elko and we're heading south. You know, this is all just like dirt roads and good, easy driving. But it doesn't matter. I'm having a good time. And I mean, we're all just good and happy to be back together. We've got days of food. We've got all that we need to enjoy. The trucks are working good. It'll be a good night to get into camp and just hang out. First night in camp, and we're gonna go cook steaks, have a real great night. We set up the tent so that we can look at that first thing in the morning. What a view it is. Good morning. Day 1. Coffee's making, Dave's up. And they got the fire going in the gazebo as well. So we got 200-ish miles today. But, you know, the journey of a long day begins with the first cup of coffee. That cup and the several that followed over a week and a half took us far across Nevada all the way to Arizona. Now, yes, there were challenges along the way, which you'll see in the full video. But I argue we had everything that we needed to get through it. The right gear, certainly. But we do these adventures as a crew, each of us drawing on the other over the course of the journey. And after a few years and driving across Washington and Oregon, and now Nevada, almost entirely on dirt, all this new gear has definitely made long-distance camping substantially more comfortable, no doubt. But it is still the spending of time with friends that makes these good. No, it makes them great adventures. Now, we've set this up 8, maybe 9 times, and we've got it down to what I will consider a fine art. But the coolest thing, really and truly, is how all of this stuff works together. We've used the heck out of the awning, not just in camp, but just like on the road to get out of the heat, out of the sun. We've used this every night, and we've not been cold at all. We've been extremely comfortable, a lot of ventilation. But the cases, that's the unexpected thing of really what I love. We've got everything that we need for camp and recovery and everything up there. And then all of our cases internal are a kitchen, personal gear, a cooler, which we turned out to need, even though we have a fridge. I love the way this system works together, and it's changed the way that I think about, you know, going camping or overlanding. I still need to up my storage game, but this is a lot of the stuff that we need to do it. Appreciate y'all watching. It's the last night on the Nevada BDR for Powerstop Brakes, and I think it's time to sit down and have something cold with friends. Take care.